Hi. I should have rode with you. I should have rode with you guys.
Just was my.
Yeah, I should have rode with
Oh,
you.
you should have. I thought you said you might not.
I wasn't going to.
Next time.
Next time.
We're not done.
Sorry.
Another road trip.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move we accept the agenda as printed.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Everybody got a copy of the minutes from last month?
Move we accept the minutes as printed.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The treasurer's report?
Commissioner all done, maybe? I talked to when I said something to Terry the other day, they never called us down this fall. I don't know if they did last year either, because they always used to go over the road contracts in the fall. So I don't know if they're not gonna do that because of COVID or what. Okay, school days. I move to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded that we accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The bills?
Oh, I do, yeah, that's right. We didn't receive a bill from Morrison last month. Before. Yeah, so. There's two, yeah. I would make a motion that we pay the bills as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pay the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. You wanna put on the list of new business?
We got the resolution to establish an application fee and initial zoning escrow amounts for zoning proceedings and other land use proceedings.
Need a motion on that, or what is it?
You don't wanna make a comment on that?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, before, but I think one and two probably ought to be, switched on the agenda.
Oh.
The first one would establish just the overall policy for having an escrow fee policy, so that one ought to be first. The second one, if you have listed this first, you probably wanna look at it a little closer second, cause there's some specific dollar amounts in that that may or may not represent what you wanna charge for these particular things. And you don't need to adopt that one tonight if you wanna study it further, but, item two is something you could go proceed with tonight.
So on the table.
Yeah, you wanna table
Table one.
We need a
I
motion.
move we table, our new business.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to table new business number one, resolution to establish application fees for zoning escrow account. We'll look at that next month. Number two, Rhonda?
Resolution establishing escrow fee policy for reimbursable zoning expenses.
This is the, policy that will give you the ability, when projects coming for zoning review that would cause the township to incur a lot of expenses, in particular, the wind energy project, in the context in which this came up. This is the policy that would allow you to require deposits from the applicant to pay for things like the environmental studies, the sound studies, and all those types of things that would occur in connection with it.
I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution to establish escrow fee policy for reimbursable zoning expenses.
Support.
Motion been made and supported that we pass the resolution establishing escrow fee policy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is that something, Ron, you have to work up for us too? Or Ron, we got a copy?
She's already got it,
Okay.
so
Do you need a roll call or just?
you can do a resolution by roll call, so that's fine. Or, I'm sorry, by voice vote, so you can just put all and none. The other resolution, I encourage you all to take a look at it or study it with your zoning administrator. The particular dollar amounts that are in there for the escrow deposits and the zoning fees to make sure they reflect what you actually wanna charge as a community for various types of permits and review processes.
Welcome to our party.
Farmland and open space preservation. I'm at 914. 116. Clear that one. Oh, man.
Do you know what section?
Should I clear that one at 1905? You're in route 2, it says 26, correct? Not here, 1905.
Second tax.
That's it, yeah, P 116.
Yeah, section 14, or 4, section 4.
I move we, accept Paul, the, PA 116 for, Paul Main.
Motion made and supported that we okay the PA 116 application for Paul May. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
See that, Amy?
Okay, so next I just need, approval to amend the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the amend the budget.
Work.
We got a motion and support to amend the budget to take care of extra attorney and planning commission fees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll do the next one. So the next ones are for board of review that happens in March. And, I always do these every year for, poverty exemption. If I fill these out in the code. So the top paper is, income standards. And then the second one is asset standards. And these are ones that are pretty across the board that, Melissa has sent on to us for us to approve. We'll do those ones first. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the income standards and the assessment standards, for poverty exemptions.
Work.
Motion made and supported that we pass this resolution. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. You wanna do the other one separate too?
Yeah, so there's two more here. There's actually three more things, but two resolutions. The first resolution is to adopt, taxpayer and non-resident taxpayers to protest at the board of review in writing or email instead of having to do that. You have to have a resolution, to do that. So I will make a resolution so that people can write letters or email, their protests on their.
Work.
Motion made and supported, so when people send an email or send a letter to the board of review, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next one is to adopt alternative start dates for March, July, and December 2022 board reviews. This is so that Melissa can, do all her townships and they don't have, because the book says they have to be done on certain days, but this gives her the opportunity to do them within, a certain period, within a week. Give or take the day that she's supposed to.
Does she have, like, different townships? She had like, 2 or 3 come together, wasn't it, or?
Yeah, I think she can do any of them that are touching.
Okay,
So where we are here, yeah, there's 4 that she can do, so, all at once, and it lists on there when the alternative dates will be set up, so. I'd like to pass, or make a motion to pass a resolution to adopt alternative start dates for March, July, and December 2022 board review.
Work.
pass a resolution for alternative start dates for the board of review. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then on the back is also a partial property exemption deadline. And this is for, in case they don't qualify for the others, they can get a partial property versus getting all property. So, I'd like to make a motion to pass the partial poverty exemption deadline.
Support. Motion made and supported that we pass the partial poverty exemption guidelines. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Next one is the retirement plan document.
Just got through that in the email.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it. Is it any different than what we've been doing?
Not for the retirement plan, but you know,
I didn't see any difference in what we've already been doing.
right.
And I'll make a motion that we pass the retirement plan document that was presented to us.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pass the retirement plan document. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the last thing that I really have is the resignation letter from Tim, from the planning commission.
Okay, now the last thing on the new business, we have some planning commission seats that are open. And I'd like to have Ron talk a little bit about the last planning commission meeting. And kind of give you a background of what I'm gonna do here tonight. You wanna go ahead, Ron?
Yeah, sure, thanks, Eric. I'll take this off so everybody can hear me. And thank you, Jerry. Let me start by acknowledging, based on some of the feedback I received from some of you, that I recognize that I offended a few of you in the way I talked about the so-called citizens ordinance last time I was here. Particularly with regard to one of the colorful metaphors I used about it to describe it. I apologize to those who took offense. That certainly wasn't my intent. The metaphor was honestly just something I brought up on the spot I thought would add a little entertainment to a boring presentation, and it obviously didn't come off that well, so I apologize to those of you who were offended. I'm sorry about that. That said, the basic facts I had recited about the citizens ordinance are accurate, which is that, like I said then, about 70% of the ordinance, the so-called citizens ordinance, was good content, although rather poorly organized. About 30% was either ill-advised or illegal, and there was a whole lot that needed to be added to it for the purpose of adequately protecting residents from this type of project if it is in fact developed. And that was the task that Spicer Group was given, and they did a very good job with that. Now, that said, Spicer Group's work was never meant to be the final product that was going to be adopted. They had limitations on their personnel, how much they could invest in it, and it would be very expensive for them to travel here from Saginaw. So the idea is they would provide a good building base of an ordinance, and then we would hire another planner to do the fine sanding and tuning, if you will, and that's why Paul LeBlanc was hired. So we contemplated a process where there would be some, if you will, some cutting with saws, if you will, at the citizens ordinance, and then there would be the fine tuning and sanding that the planning commission would do with another planner. I'd like to say that the planning commission overall did a very fine job at its last meeting with that final sanding and polishing work to get the ordinance into a better adoptable format. That last meeting was generally very productive in that regard. That said, as Terry alluded to, I do have some, legal concerns about some of the actions the planning commission took with respect to, the maximum height limit on turbines and also the setback distances. Specifically that the 150-foot, maximum on, turbines would indeed have the effect of totally excluding utility scale, projects from the township. Some of the setbacks, might have that same impact. I can't say that for certain. That's an issue that, Paul LeBlanc is looking at more closely. So, one of the things we have to do as legal counsel is, ask of the township, if, it is unduly exposing itself, to legal risk by adopting an ordinance that would in fact have the effect of totally prohibiting utility scale wind energy projects from the township. Now, I have given township officials, the planning commission members, and the board members a legal opinion on this subject, which I'm obviously not going to discuss in detail. That's a confidential attorney-client privileged matter. And of course, there's a whole sea of, unfortunately, plaintiffs out there who probably want to sue the township against whatever direction this ordinance goes. And so we're not going to spoon feed them my legal thoughts on this subject. That said, I've been made aware through emails and other communications I've gotten from members of the public about certain other members in the legal community and what they've said about exclusionary zoning, and in particular about the topic of whether utility scale wind turbines is a discrete use that is subject to the protections of exclusionary zoning. And let me offer some generalized comments on that. First, if there's anybody who is saying that they know what the answer to the question is, or if they know what a court is going to do with that question, they're greatly deceived because a Michigan court has not opined directly on that subject, and a Michigan court simply hasn't taken up directly that subject in a binding opinion. All that can be done is looking at the exclusionary zoning cases out there that have dealt with other types of uses and apply them by analogy to see what a court might do with this type of use. And with that in mind, I offer the following points. Any analysis of this subject matter that doesn't start by acknowledging that the Michigan State Legislature has created a need for this use is incomplete. And what I'm referring to is the legislature has adopted what's called renewable portfolio standards for all public utilities in the state that mandate as of this year that they all have 15% of their energy generation through renewable resources, including wind energy. That is only going to go up. In fact, Consumers Energy is planning to have 60% of its portfolio in renewables by the year 2040, and the Michigan Public Service Commission recognizes that utility scale wind energy is one of the uses that can be used to satisfy that requirement that public utilities have that amount of renewable energy in their portfolio. So the use is required to exist in the state. It is the type of use that can only exist in certain areas where the geography and wind conditions allow it. So the legislature, not the township, not a wind energy company, has created a situation where there is a need for this use in designated areas of the state where utility scale wind energy generation is possible. So that's point one. Point number two is contrary to what has been stated by some others who have expressed an opinion on this subject. There are Michigan cases holding that particular subsets of land uses, meaning their size or other factors, are discretely protected by the protections of exclusionary zoning. This is particularly so with respect to uses involving natural resources that can only be effectively used or harvested in discrete areas of the state. The Michigan courts have recognized that when you have that type of situation, discrete sub-uses are in fact entitled to the protections from exclusionary zoning. So for that reason, any accurate and complete analysis of the issue of exclusionary zoning needs to acknowledge the legal risks that exist with respect to totally prohibiting utility scale wind energy in an area of the state where that use is feasibly performed. So, therefore, the Planning Commission and the board should consider these legal issues when it drafts its wind energy ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Now, I told everybody before, and I think the board agrees with me yet, this board will not pass a wind ordinance that is exclusionary. The 150 feet comes under the exclusionary portion. And I talked to a lot of people in the neighborhood. I put a lot of thought into this. The only way we're gonna get to a non-exclusionary ordinance is to change up our planning commission. We
Oh,
got,
so we're dictatorship now.
no. This,
Yep. Tater.
I don't have my gavel, but let me finish. There's 2 seats that are up for, their terms are up, and there's 1 seat that Tim Snyder resigned from, because he was tired of all the hassle. I don't blame him a bit. I wanna introduce you guys, that's the deal, there's 3 seats available.
Why?
With the board's permission, I'm gonna introduce those people I'm gonna put on those seats right now.
Oh, wait.
One of the seats, Tammy, do you wanna be first?
Sure.
This is Tammy Suarez. I asked everybody to give a little bit of background information. Go ahead.
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson, Douglas Township Board, and community. I'm honored to be asked to serve Douglas Township. I've been a resident of Montcalm County for 51 non-consecutive years and a resident of Douglas Township for the last 26. I'm a senior vice president for a real estate development firm based out of Utah, specializing in educational facilities. My career has encompassed finance, investments, stock exchange, accounting, 33 years construction, with 16 years focusing on real estate development, giving me a unique skill set to positively and proactively serve the residents of Douglas Township regarding planning commission matters. I have served local, regional, and national levels for various not-for-profit boards, so Robert's Rules of Order is not foreign to me. I have developed projects in 17 states, that's 45 cities, 11 counties, and 3 state-level projects, and the District of Columbia. This includes all entitlements, use, both special and conditional permits via public hearings, and subsequent permits from numerous agencies related to construction. My past projects have received awards from the DEQ for their environmental cleanup objectives, as well as organizations regarding green building initiatives. I also am well versed in the outside agencies such as DNR, DEQ, DOT, that's called alphabet soup for those that don't know, Army Corps of Engineers, and various state agencies related to life safety, protected or endangered flora, i.e. heritage trees and cacti, or endangered fauna, i.e. desert tortoises, gopher turtles, burrowing owls, and aviation nesting habits. I even have experience on several projects involving archaeology and burial agreements for projects to have known Native American artifacts or historic significance, such as Civil War or historic canals. Having completed 437 educational facilities, hospitals, wastewater treatment facilities, municipal water plants, and a few country clubs, courthouses, city halls, and public libraries, I have gained the experience of many types of ordinances and land use matters across the United States and know how they are applied. I look forward to represent Douglas Township and gain insights and participate in creating and enforcing the Planning Commission objectives to serve our residents.
Thank you. comes out in August. Ron recommended before that we did not extend it as long as we did. So, in my opinion, we need an ordinance before August. August is 8 months away. The next one, Becky, are you here?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, Becky Souls, Becky, you wanna tell us a little bit about yourself?
Stack the deck.
Hi. My name is Becky Souls. I'm a resident of Douglas Township for about 18 years. Before that I lived in Day. I don't have quite the pedigree to Day. I'm just a regular, I work for a virtual call center as a real-time analyst. So I watch data, follow data, look for trends, that type of thing. I believe that change is going to be good for our township. We need to work together and compromise. There has to be a way to make safety and prosperity for everyone. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve. I believe we all need to get involved more at the local level and serve our township, serve our state. So thank you for the opportunity.
To replace Tim Snyder, Tim's term will be just to finish out. Paul Olson has agreed to do that for me.
Conflict of interest.
My name is Paul Olson, lifelong resident of Douglas Township, family's farmed here for over 100 years, and I was asked to fill in that slot.
Thank you, Paul.
Shame on you.
Was there a roll call on this?
Roll call, please.
We have to have,
Dictatorship.
I have to have this approved by the board.
Roll call.
Yeah. Do you wanna vote on them individually or one at a time?
Come on, Amy. I move we
Somebody.
accept,
Do
Tammy
not see what you're
Suarez for
doing.
the planning commission.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second that we accept Tammy Swears' application. All those in